Alright, so now that we know how to do a triangle, and I've also uploaded a time lapse of how that comes together, we are going to quickly go over some of the things that you need to keep in mind when you're working with a curve. Now, the rules are not very different when it comes to this, and there's one thing that you do need to keep in mind is that you continue to work with a straight edge. Believe it or not, a curve will not work. Let me try this now. If I try to use a curve, doesn't matter how big it is or how small, we don't want to work big. Even if I try to do it small, it won't come out it won't come out perfectly around the outline of this semicircle. So what we want to do is, if you've teared a piece, that's fine, or you can work with a straight edge here as well. What you want to keep in mind is this, that you want to work with small strips here. Small strips, and what that will do, if I glue that down and just show you very quickly, small strips will line up perfectly on the edge. And we want to line up these small strips as much as possible, straight edges, across the outline of our semicircle. And that will help us create this beautiful outline, nice and tidy and very accurate. Now, if I use the edge of a piece of paper that I've torn as well, this colored paper I've torn, you can work with the straight edges there. You can work with a slightly bigger one and just test it out. Does it fit, or is it a bit too big? This one I can get away with, but otherwise you can always work small if you're not sure. Now, because the big one does work, I will try it. If yours doesn't work, just tear it in half again and see how that fits in. So I'm just going to flatten that out. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to also very quickly show you just how to do an edge here for our semicircle. What you want to do is kind of play with the fact that you got collage. Collage means many layers of paper that we're going to be building on to our surface. So while I'm doing that, I'm not going to cut out the perfect shape and stick it on, because that's quite boring, and if I was to only do that, then I might as well cut it out with scissors. But because this technique is to tear it and to layer it, and we need some textures the way we've added here, then what we're going to use, start off by using small sections, tear them off, and I'm working with a small piece here with a straight edge. Look how tiny that is, and I'm just working with that just so that it fits on this left side of me, of the semicircle. Now I just need to tear another piece that will fit just perfectly there. So I'm going to switch my colors here. I'm going to use a green, and I'm going to test it out and see if anything in particular fits. It does fit, but then there's this little bit that's flaring out a bit. Not flaring out because I haven't stuck it down, but rather it's too big. So what I will do is tear that down, and use your fingernail if you want to, just to kind of press it down and help you with some of the tears. Now if I go ahead and flatten this out, doesn't matter which way, it should come out, there you go, and you end up filling up the corner there. Now if I continue to tear and create the layers as I'm doing and create the outline, then voila, we should be able to start to continue working with what we've got. Just going to finish this little edge off on my left section, just so you can see how it's all really starting to come together. And this will really help you with your final piece as well, knowing how to add these layers and these and to fill these shapes up, especially when it comes to those tiny pieces and tiny shapes that you'll be working with as well for your work. Now I'm going to continue tearing this down. It's a bit big, I don't have a straight edge, I'm just going to tear it down. Just like that, you'll end up having a little section that you can work with. I'm going to grab that, I'm going to fit that here because it will fit. Oh, press it down with your other fingers as well, and then I'm going to use this one, slightly bigger, just to help me position that on. And if it flares up, remember, just use the edge of the glue stick just to press it down again. And you should be able to start to see it all come together. And that's what we're really doing here. So again, I'm going to work with the smaller sections, just so that I've got a lot more accuracy in our work. And then I'm going to finish this off as well, and you can see the final work.